Whether you're a professional installer who does this every day or a do-it-yourselfer tackling your own backyard project, or maybe you're repairing an existing fence, cutting the fence to fit your layout is something you can't avoid. There are three main methods for cutting a mesh pool fence: trim to fit, border trim and tape, and the double molding cut. In this video, we're going to walk through how to make a cut using border with one thread, also known as border trim and tape. To pull this off, you'll need a few basic tools: a cordless drill, a number 2 Phillips if you're working with the classic fence, or a number 2 square drive for the ultra fence, a tape measure, a China marker, heavy-duty scissors, and enough border with one thread and double-sided tape for each cut. This video will also go over using staples as an alternative to double-sided tape. Start by unscrewing and removing the molding. Pull the bottom border of the mesh tightly around the pole. Use your China marker to mark the center of the pole on the bottom border and then measure your mark from the previous pole. Then transfer the same measurement to the top border so your cut will be perfectly straight. Now remove the section of fence from its place in the layout and lay it on the ground, or better yet, on a table. From your original mark, add 3/8 of an inch and make another mark on the top and bottom border. Use a straight edge or the molding from the pole to draw a straight line on the new mark with your China marker. Cut the mesh along the new mark, which again should be 3/8 of an inch longer than the original mark. Now cut a strip of border with one thread just a little longer than the mesh panel that you're working on. Next, apply the double-sided tape to your mesh panel. Open the border with one thread and sandwich the mesh, pushing it all the way against the stitch. Double check that the border with one thread is firmly seated against the mesh with the double-sided tape. Pull a small piece of the tape backing and attach it to the top of the border with one thread. Pull the tape backing a little at a time and press the border to make sure it's sticking. At the same time, push the border material against the mesh and continue this all the way down the mesh panel. An alternative method using double-sided tape is the staple method. For this method, you will push the border onto the mesh panel so that it's firmly against the one thread. Then, using a standard stapler, staple the middle of the border material, applying a staple with a gap of about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 of an inch between staples. Continue pushing the border onto the mesh as you continue stapling the entire panel. A standard stapler will work, but the Arrow heavy-duty stapler can be purchased at the Orange Home Improvement Store and will make this task a breeze. Once the entire border is stapled or taped onto the mesh panel, you will cut the excess border material flush with the top and bottom borders. The remainder of this job is best done on the ground with a little cardboard to protect the poles from being scratched. Line up the top of the molding and the top thread. You should also see the entire thread along the side of the molding. Next, take a section screw and preset it into the top hole of the molding. Screw the molding and the mesh into the pole. Then pre-drill the bottom border just above the second thread from the bottom and preset a section screw into the bottom hole of the molding. Then lift the molding and put your foot between the molding and the mesh. Push down on the bottom of the molding. This will create an arc that will allow you to screw the section screw and molding into the bottom pre-drilled hole. Removing your foot will stretch the mesh, helping to remove wrinkles and giving it that factory fresh finish. Now you can screw the bottom screw to the pole. Starting in the middle of the molding, line up the mesh so that the thread is just outside the molding and insert a section screw. Alternate up and down, working your way to the top and bottom of the pole until the section screws are all in. Now you can reinstall the section of fence into your layout and connect the fence in each section. That's the border trim and tape method, strong, clean, and effective. Be sure to check out our other 2 methods as well to see which one is best for your layout and skill level.